This is the video for the Try It section of Lesson 6, Variables, Data Types, and Constants. In this lesson, you practice creating a macro that includes a declared variable, and the macro recorder in this lesson will be nowhere in sight. The macro recorder is a great tool, but it cannot do some things, and one of the things it cannot do is to declare variables. You have to do that yourself by typing in the code into the module directly, and this lesson will show you how to do that. Start by going to your Excel worksheet, and on sheet 1 where we are, in cell A1, enter the word hello. What this macro that you're going to write will do is to declare a string type variable, and it's going to assign the string that is in cell A1 of sheet 1 to the variable that you declare. And because you've just entered hello into cell A1, that is going to be what the macro will look at to have the string variable be equal to. Next step is to get into the Visual Basic Editor. In versions of Excel 2007 or 2010, click the Developer tab on the ribbon and the Visual Basic icon. Or from any version of Excel, you can press the Alt F11 keys and get into the Visual Basic Editor here, where from the menu you can click Insert and Module to create a module that will be what you type your macro code into to create your macro. There are macro naming rules, as you'd imagine, and you can name your macro a lot of different ways. Keep things simple here. We'll just call this macro variable test. When you press the enter key, you'll notice that the end subline is produced automatically for you by VBA, and the cursor is blinking in an empty row, an empty space where you can start to type in your code. I'm going to press enter a few more times, give a little bit of room to work. So, to declare a variable, you always start with a dim statement. That is short for dimension, and press the spacebar character and then name your variable. There are naming rules for variables as well, but keeping things simple is always the best rule of thumb, because this is a string variable that you'll be declaring. Just name it my string. Press the spacebar key. You type in the word as. Press the spacebar key again, and you'll see this drop-down list appear that will have a whole lot of different methods and objects that you can use as a variable type. We know this is going to be a string variable, so if you start to type str, you'll see that string is highlighted, and you can press the tab key or continue pressing ing if you like to enter string, and press the enter key. Now it's a simple matter of assigning the string, the myString variable, to a string, and what you'll do in this case is to assign it to whatever is in cell A1 of sheet 1. So the syntax is the variable name, which is myString, a space, the equal sign, another space, and worksheets sheet 1 dot range A1 dot value. So now you have declared a string type variable with the name myString, and you have defined myString as being equal to whatever is in cell A1 of sheet 1. So it's time to have a little bit of fun by experimenting a bit with the myString variable and saying, for starters, that let's have cell B3, the value of that be equal to myString. Now if we were to stop the code right here, which you could do, and run the macro this way, the word hello would be placed into cell B3 because the word hello is in cell A1. But to be a little bit mischievous, we'll concatenate the myString variable with what I did was hit the space bar, the ampersand character, the space bar again, to concatenate, that is to combine myString with another string we'll hard code in here, like the word world. And so now when you run the macro, what will end up being in cell B3 will be hello world, with the space in between the two words to make it easier to read. Range A4, you can say we'll have the value of myString and myString and myString. This is a bit on the silly side, but only to make the point that you can see where I'm going here with the code. The myString variable can be manipulated any number of ways to have it appear in a cell the way you want it to, either by itself or with itself and with itself again and then some other string, or however way you want it to appear, either on its own or with some other text value. And finally, we'll say that range B5 will have the value of myString and goodbye. And there's your macro. It's a simple example of declaring a variable, assigning a string, in this case it was a string type variable, assigning a string to the variable, and then manipulating the variable in various ways depending on how you want that string to appear on the worksheet. I'm going to press the Alt Q keys to get back to the worksheet, and then the Alt F8 key to show the macro dialog. And there's your variable test macro. It's the only one in the workbook so far, so it's the only one showing. And if you press or click rather the run button, you'll see that hello world and hello hello hello, because you did the myString command in the code, and then hello and goodbye was how you coded the macro. Now, the cool thing about having entered the word hello into cell A1 is that had you assigned a hard text string to the myString variable, I'm going to go back to the Visual Basic Editor here for a moment, and here you set myString equal to whatever's in cell A1. You could have said myString equals hello and left it at that, but then anytime you run the macro, myString will always be equal to the word hello. Whereas, just undoing what I did there, getting back to the worksheet, let's say that we change the word hello to greetings. Now if you try to run the macro again, the code will dutifully look at what's in cell A1 and adjust what text it ends up placing in cells B3, A4, and B5 to concatenate the word greetings with the other items that you entered into your code here for the myString variable to also be associated with. And that is a way to place a variable in a cell to declare it, and then to run it and have the text, in this case with a string variable, being manipulated in different ways depending on how you want it to look in your worksheet.